January 6th, which was a tragic day in our nation's history. I knew so many friends who were on the Hill, staff members, former bosses, members of the press. I was worried sick watching from South Carolina. But look, let's make no mistake. January 6th was litigated to the hilt. You had the January 6th committee, you had an impeachment trial. Everyone saw this with their own two eyes. And if you want a jury of your peers, you had tens of millions, 70 some odd million voted for Donald Trump. Many of them very much were disgusted with what they saw on January 6th, but they still voted for Donald Trump. I think this has been litigated heavily in the court of public opinion and in Congress in a politically charged committee. My old boss, Jim Banks, was refused to be seated on that committee. So I think the people are pretty well aware of what happened on January 6th. They're well aware of what was at stake in this election. They voted for Donald Trump.
Well, something we can reason on that point, CW. If that's the case, then releasing the report would just be something that would just be par for the course and not problematic. They don't see it that way, which begs the question as to why. Let me ask you on this other point, Karen. I do want to get your response to this as well. But CW, to stick with you, one thing that Congresswoman Sidney Kemledger-Doug mentioned was the idea of the role and influence of so-called billionaires. I shouldn't say so-called billionaires like Musk and beyond. And New York Times Maggie Haberman reported that Trump has privately complained about Musk being around a lot. This says the incoming White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, telling Axios, "I don't welcome people who want to work solo or be a star." How do you interpret this role of so-called kind of first buddy?
Yeah, I think those are two sort of different things. Like Susie Wiles ran a tremendous campaign. It was a tight-knit, efficient operation. I think she's going to bring that to the White House, and she's just simply spelling out her theology on running an organization. Elon Musk and Donald Trump have their own relationship that they're going to have to work out as they go along. How is Doge going to interact with the White House? What is, he's been inviting Elon Musk to talk to world leaders. We've seen reports on. Is that going to continue or is that going to change? That's all a personal thing between them. Susie Wiles is worried about the White House. Trump and Elon will have to work out their personal relationship. But, in terms of oligarchy and stuff, how many DAs in this country have received money from George Soros? A lot. So it's not as though there's no people on the left.
Come on.
How much money has George Soros spent on Democratic politicians over his career? The man's ancient. It's probably a ton.
Well, let me refocus on the question I was asking, though, and why I think it's important, especially Karen, on this point, because one of the points that TW just raised was it's based on the personal or decision relationship of Trump and Elon Musk. I'm paraphrasing you, of course, here to decide whether he ought to meet with world leaders. Am I naive to think that that is actually the opposite of what's supposed to happen for non-elected officials from the billionaire perspective? I mean, I'm not a billionaire, but I would assume that a president would have a professional view of who should meet with world leaders in his stead or beside him.
Well, look, it was the best $260 million that Elon Musk has ever spent. He got a president for that money. He now we've seen over the weekend, we see him attacking the UK with misinformation and disinformation. We see him deciding that he's going to, support the far right leader in Germany. That's very dangerous. As someone who is known to be a buddy of the president, or the president-elect, to sort of be trying to, impose himself into the governments of other countries who are our allies, countries with whom, to your point, we have a national interest. We have both, whether it is national security interest, whether it is our diplomatic interest, whether it is our economic interest. And so those are the things on which President-elect Trump should be trying to make those decisions, not based on, by the way, the question we should be asking for ourselves is, what's in it for Elon Musk? What are the things that Elon Musk, as a billionaire, as someone who has government, as someone who does business in a number of these countries, what's in it for him in that he's trying to influence the United States of America to basically continue to line his pockets?
Well, TW, Karen, I got to tell you, if I'm President-elect Trump, I'm furious to suggest that either I was bought or that I'm not the one running the country. We'll have to see how he views this in the next few weeks. Will we not? Nice to see both of you. Thank you so much.
for having me.